Hello, I'm David Rose, and here's a look at some of the cases we're featuring with Crime Stoppers on Washington's Most Wanted this weekend, starting with a laundry list of crimes that our top fugitive is currently facing. Gary Bolin is wanted in Pierce County for 3 counts of unlawful possession of a firearm, drug dealing, theft, first-degree burglary, and first-degree robbery. Detectives say Bolin is a convicted felon and known gang member who has not been seen since he and 2 other men committed an armed home invasion robbery in January. Detectives say the 3 suspects pointed guns at kids, stole cash, phones, jewelry, and video game consoles, and then threatened the victims to keep it on the streets, meaning keep it quiet and don't call the police.
These type of crimes are extremely frightening. When somebody comes into your residence with multiple people brandishing firearms and threatens you, and then ransacks your house, takes your jewelry, your video game consoles, this is a legit residential robbery. Luckily, we were able to get suspect identified, and we are looking for him, and he knows we're looking for him, so we need the public's help to get him caught.
Bolin was involved in a drive-by shooting in 2018 and convicted of riot with a deadly weapon. He's 21 years old, 6'3", and weighs 300 pounds. If you can tell Pierce County Sheriff's deputies where to find him, submit that information anonymously through the P3 Tips app on your cell phone or call 1-800-222-TIPS. It's always anonymous. You never will be asked to give your name to Crime Stoppers of Tacoma Pierce County. You will receive a cash reward of up to $1,000 if your tip leads to Gary Bolin's arrest. Well, this next case is fairly unusual, and it'll be interesting to find out the why behind the crime. Watch as a woman walks into the Bank of America on 4th Avenue in Seattle carrying a purplish mesh bag. As she approaches the teller, you get a good look at her face. Detectives think she's in her 40s or 50s, about 5'2" with a thin build. She was wearing black-rimmed glasses. Police say she's wanted for trying to rob this bank, even though there was a security guard. You even see him walking behind her at one point on the video.
She walked up, she approached the bank teller, and she presented a demand letter. And she also implied to the teller that she actually had a gun in a bag that she was physically carrying.
The teller refused to give her the money and walked away from the window. The suspect stood there for a while before she finally gave up and left the bank. She walked northbound on 4th Avenue. Now, even though she didn't get any money, this is still considered a felony crime. Detectives are hoping somebody recognizes her since she didn't bother to cover her face.
Rarely do we see female bank robbery suspects. She has the mask down, but very distinctive clothing. You look at that, some say it was blue and white, some say it was black and white, kind of a checkered pattern or a plaid on that shirt. Her hair is tied up in a bun. But the fact is, you're going to get a clear look at this lady, and somebody watching knows exactly who she is.
And if that's you, Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000. Just submit her name, any photos or other information you have about her through the P3 Tips app on your cell phone. You can also call the hotline. A mother hears her daughter scream from outside their home, so she opens the front door and finds her grasping to a handrail as her brand new boyfriend's trying to pull her with both hands. Well, Yakima County Sheriff's detectives say the victim was trying to escape a violent attack from this guy, David Wacenske Jr., in January. Now, he's wanted now for unlawful imprisonment and second-degree assault. Detectives say the two had only been dating for a couple of weeks when Wacenske started asking her questions about old relationships while the 2 of them were sitting in his car outside the victim's home. Detectives say Wacenske got mad and unleashed hell on her, started choking her, hitting her in the head with his hands, then pulled a gun from his center console, hit her with it before putting the gun in her mouth, then to his head and saying, "I'm either going to kill you or myself tonight." Well, the victim was able to escape from the car and yell for her mom, who called 911. Wacenske took off in his car. David Wacenske Jr. is 22 years old. He's 5'8" and weighs 145 pounds. If you can tell officers where to find him, submit a tip anonymously through the P3 Tips app to Crime Stoppers of Yakima County or call 1-800-222-TIPS. It's anonymous. They'll pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000. But detectives are asking for your help tonight to identify a serial armed robbery suspect targeting businesses in South Seattle. 3 so far since April 22nd. Take a look at these photos showing the suspect's clothing. In 2 of the robberies, he was wearing black gloves that say Hardy on them. In the first robbery, he was wearing a Western Washington University sweatshirt. He was also seen in gray Echo Unlimited sweatpants committing the second robbery. Now, you can't see his face in any of the holdups, but there are some other clues that may help you identify him, including the fact that one victim says the suspect was carrying a black pistol in his waistband that appeared to have a gold trim on it, and he was seen riding this dark-colored mountain bike. Seattle police say it took this guy a while to build up the nerve, or for the conditions to be just right, to pull off the first of 3 armed robberies he's suspected of committing. This is video taken on April 22nd, around 12:15 a.m. at the Shell gas station in the 6200 block of Corson Street. It shows him asking the clerk for a pencil so he can fill out his lottery numbers. Well, he goes outside and pretends to work on it, but then you see him tearing off a piece of a brown paper bag that he brought with him. He used the pencil to write, "Give all the money," on the paper. Detectives say he was armed with a pistol in his waistband. He goes back inside the store, then he waits for other customers to leave before he approaches the teller.
Demanded the money from the teller, and the teller tells us he was terrified because the guy was somewhat nervous.
The suspect left on foot after getting the money, but he left behind 2 Amazon envelopes with a woman's address on them. Officers went to the home to see if there was any video of him stealing those packages, and they learned the homeowner had left the empty envelopes out for recycling. And even though she had a Ring surveillance camera, her batteries were dead.
Right there, a crucial piece of evidence just went down the drain.
4 days later, on April 26th at 2:25 a.m., police say the same suspect robbed the Shell station in the 600 block of South Michigan Street.
This time he's wearing sweatpants, and they're very distinctive. It says Echo Unlimited. Once again, he had the black and gray Hardy gloves, so that fits in the pattern with the other robbery.
Detectives say he asked for a pack of cigarettes, then showed a gun in his waistband that was black with a gold trim, and he demanded cash.
Here's a unique thing in this one. Before he left, he actually turned around and said, "Hey, have a Merry Christmas." Come on. I mean, this guy's now toying with the people. It's adding insult to injury.
He rode off on a dark-colored mountain bike. The third robbery happened at the Jack in the Box in the 5900 block of First Avenue South. Here, the suspect pulls up on a different bicycle at the drive-through window, pulls out a gun from his waistband, and in Spanish, demanded money.
She said, "I'm going to have to talk to manager in order to get the money. You wait right here." Well, in this specific case, once she left that drive-in area through the window, automatically the window shut, and she's now secure. He can't get through it. So all of a sudden he realizes, I'm not going to get the money, and he rides off on the mountain bike.
Even though his face was always covered, detectives are hoping somebody spots him on that bike and calls 911, or can identify him from his clothing and the other clues.
He's probably looking for a victim right now. We don't want it to be you. So if you have any information about this guy, please take the time to call us.
So if you can help the Seattle Police Robbery Unit track him down, identify him, and lock him up, Crime Stoppers will pay you a cash reward of up to $1,000. Detectives describe the suspect as black, early to mid-20s with a stocky build, between 5'6" and 5'8". Send in his name or any other information you have about him through the P3 Tips app. You can download it to your cell phone for free or call 1-800-222-TIPS. Collect that cash reward of up to $1,000. Another amazing example of the work Washington's Most Wanted's viewers are doing to help law enforcement solve crimes. The suspect in a hit and run near Everett featured on Washington's Most Wanted last weekend has been arrested for reckless endangerment after troopers learned her 10-year-old daughter was in the car. Troopers arrested the suspect on Saturday. Now, we're not naming her until Snohomish County prosecutors file formal charges in the case. Troopers say she sideswiped Martin Lurch's BMW on the trestle going west into Everett, then sped away. She later stopped briefly, but then took off again.
When she pulled up in the parking lot, and she was the one who got out of the car to pursue my car. And as you saw in the video, I remained seated. I opened the door, and good thing I did because we got her on camera, right? But her daughter actually opened the passenger side door, and she was looking out, and she was kind of yelling out there, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry." I felt bad for her because it must have been quite an experience.
Troopers say the girl's mother was identified thanks to a Washington's Most Wanted viewer tip to Crime Stoppers of Puget Sound. And as investigators were following up to try to locate the suspect, she actually called Trooper Heather Axman after seeing the story posted on my Facebook page.
Her side of the story basically is what we saw in the dash cam. She was driving in excessive speed, lost control, sideswiped that BMW on the trestle back on April 5th, pulled over, and then ultimately fled the scene. She said that she got scared and didn't have any insurance.
Well, she was booked into the Snohomish County Jail for hit and run attended and reckless endangerment.
I got lucky that Washington's Most Wanted picked up my story because I think I was told by my insurance agency that actually the case was closed at one point because of lack of evidence. And so I am just very thankful to Washington's Most Wanted to taking on this case and trying to serve justice.
That's a look at some of the cases we're airing tonight on Washington's Most Wanted. Join us for the rest at 11 o'clock on Q13 Fox. The show airs again Saturday night at 9:30 on Joe TV and 10:30 on Q13 Fox, and statewide on Fox television shows in Tri-Cities, Yakima, and Spokane at 10:30. Let's make sure these criminals have nowhere left to hide.